First, apparently Roselle has been confirmed by the author to have watched femboy streamers in his previous life. What? You know what? I'm not even surprised. Okay, but what I really wanted to say was, I made a couple mistakes in the last video, so if you came from there, then let me correct myself. If you didn't come from that video and just want to see what's up with episode 3, then skip to this timestamp I'm gonna put on the screen right now. First, apparently, the bread is not consumed in the luck enhancement ritual, so Klein and Melissa are eating tonight. Second, I guessed that Dally Simone's psychic ability is part of the mystery prior pathway, but she's actually on the corpse collector pathway, and the mystery prior pathway, remains a mystery.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Third, I mistakenly said that we don't know what the Fool tarot card means. But I just missed Klein explaining it. The Fool is the number 0 of the tarot deck, and it contains all possible beginnings. A quick Google search also said that it represents new beginnings. Fourth, I introduced Audrey and Alger as their names, but nobody actually knows each other's names yet, and instead they're using code names. Audrey is the tarot card Justice, and Alger is the Hanged Man. Alright, now that I've got that over with, time for episode 3.
I'm at the door!
We start with seeing one of the people that was originally stalking Klein in episode 1. Let's just take a look at this guy's job in episode 1, because I'm sure you'll find this as funny as I do. Bro stopped, took a long ass look at Leonard, and then was like, nah, I'm out. Bro was not nonchalant with the turnarounds. Like, what are we doing? Anyways, back in episode 3, Dunn and Leonard captured the stalker, and Dunn, as always, was using his abilities to get information and finds out that the guy sold the Antigonus notebook to the market, meaning it could now belong to anyone. However, this bozo also bears the symbol of the secret order, and since he was following Klein, we can assume this secret order is also trying to get their hands on the notebook. So I guess he just sold it for a quick buck, but then his bosses were like, what the fuck, we needed that. Soon after, another Nighthawk tells Dunn that Klein has a clue to the Antigonus notebook's location based on his vision that we saw in episode 2. So Klein, Dunn, Leonard, and a couple other Nighthawks head to the house across from the kidnapping, and there's just a corpse sitting at the door. Like, that is disgusting. Klein then confirms that the original Klein had been here with the Antigonus notebook, and Leonard comments that due to the kidnapper's proximity to the notebook, it's no surprise that he went mad, meaning that the Antigonus notebook has some influence on Beyonders. The other Nighthawks come back from the rest of the house and declare that the notebook isn't here, and that Mr. Maggot's son, Ray Bieber, is missing. However, they were able to find one of Ray's coats. That's our next lead. Klein attempts to divine Ray's location with Ray's coat, but then his cane just starts flying around like Yondu's arrow. Apparently this happened because some powerful force interrupted his divination, so Dunn says that he'll contact the Holy Cathedral and that there are other ways to track Ray down. The next day, Dunn and Klein are at HQ, where Dunn gives Klein a citrine amulet that should help with his divinations. The main reason why they're here, though, is to meet with 3 Nighthawks from Backlund who arrive after Leonard escorts them down. Dunn introduces the guy on the right as Earl Hansen, a Sequence 7 Sleepless, also called a Nightmare, and the guy on the left as Borgia, a Sequence 8 Corpse Collector, also called Gravedigger. Oh, and the third one is Dally. Right after getting here, Borgia gives Klein shit because he's a seer with no combat potential. But Dunn isn't paying attention to all the crap Mr. Hardass is giving Klein, and is just thinking like, huh, they actually approve this shit. Because the real reason why they're here is to bring over a sealed artifact. By the way, these sealed artifacts are special Beyonder items that are exceptionally magical or destructive, and are sealed behind these Channis gates. The power of the artifact being determined by grade. So at least to my understanding, they're pretty much like SCPs. Moving on, apparently Dunn speculates that Ray Bieber is a descendant of the Antigonus family, which would make sense since Klein went to his house with the notebook. If Dunn's speculation is true, we can use Grade 2 Sealed Artifact 2049 to track Ray Bieber. Moving on, the reason why this artifact is strong enough to be Grade 2 is because you need to jerk your arms like this whenever it's around, and you might die of embarrassment because of this my heart goes out to you shit. In any case, the real reason why it's so powerful is because it can puppeteer 2 people within 5 meters of it. To be freed, all you have to do is exert an external force on the one being controlled. So the actual reason why everyone's goofily flailing their arms around is for easy observation to see if they're being controlled. Klein then goes, what if it controls everyone? And one of the new Nighthawks goes, that's impossible. Also, why the fuck are they avoiding eye contact so much? Klein's getting the omniscient reader Kim Dokta treatment. Anyways, the point of SCP-2049 is the fact that it's attracted to the aura of the Antigonus family. After all, it was originally created by them. That's why it was chasing Klein the entire time, as opposed to going to other people. So the item with the most Antigonus aura on it would be Ray Bieber's coat, if Ray is an Antigonus descendant. And bam! Ray Bieber is confirmed an Antigonus, and now SCP-2049 can lead us to him. And I'm just showing you this because I thought it was funny. He's just shimmying trying to keep SCP in the box. Speaking of funny situations, look at these guys just walking down the street. What would you say if a bunch of rich guys in suit and tie walk down the street like this? Hell, this woman even covers her son's eyes. And Klein doesn't want any part of this. Finally, once they get to the carriages, Leonard tells Klein to stop jerking it and hop into the cart. And then they all head to Ray Bieber. Before they arrive though, we get to see Ray in an abandoned warehouse doing some ritual with the notebook. And first of all, I can't watch this without thinking bro screams like a girl. Not to say that's a bad thing, but it's just, you know, whatever. Once he finishes whatever ritual he's doing, Ray absorbs the notebook and the notebook begins controlling him. And then he turns into Toji's worm from Jujutsu Kaisen. And I wasn't expecting this, but right after Ray transforms, Clownface from day 1 arrives, and it looks like he's also part of the secret order and is after the Antigonus notebook that is now in this glutton's belly. Clownface somehow knows that the Nighthawks are coming with 2049 and then says, "Let me perform a magic trick for you and help you," to 2049. I'll mention that when it's important. The Nighthawks arrive on scene, and Klein divines an extremely big danger inside the warehouse. The horses run for their lives as it's running from a natural disaster. Honestly, I think Ray's just grumpy because he's on his period. Everyone readies their firearms, and yo, where is this guy on the right aiming? No, these are literally the lobbies I get in Valorant. Ray begins approaching. Just before engaging, Dunn hands Klein 2 slumber talismans, and oh my god, is this fight insane. The 3 corpse collectors do a synchronized midnight chant in the blood-red moonlight, but the monster isn't affected. Dunn takes the chance to hop on the monster's back and gives him a Chidori to the head. Dunn then identifies the threat as a spirit being controlled by the notebook as opposed to a crazed beyonder. So instead of using demon hunting bullets, they need to attack its weaknesses. With her abilities, Dally figures out what the spirit's weaknesses are, and to kill the monster, she needs it to be under control for 3 seconds. Leonard uses his agility to buy time for Dunn to bind the spirit with his powers, and 3, 2, 1. But it doesn't go as planned because the notebook pulls out all the stops and is now using Ray's bones to attack. The monster stabs Dunn and then knocks 2049 out of reach. One of the Backland Nighthawks uses Excalibur to damage the monster. Dunn, who is currently interlocked with the monster's bones, tightens his grip on the monster with his abilities, and Argo Klein uses the sleeping talismans to debilitate the monster even further. Finally, Dal uses this chance to kill the spirit from the inside. In its dying breath, the monster just explodes. Dally got caught up in the explosion, but we have a potion, so she's fine. Holy shit, that was crazy. Hornesis, Flagrea, Hornesis. Klein picks up the notebook. But don't forget about Clownface, who can use Shadow Clone Jutsu. This guy is so fast, and while fighting, he lifts his hat so it doesn't get cut by this guy's sword. This guy is smooth as fuck. Klein is able to get a shot off, but the clown transfers the damage from his abdomen to his left arm and uses his right to materialize a whip, breaking it towards Klein. Everyone is now running after the clown since Klein is the weakest one. But that's just a shadow clone, and now everyone is within 5 meters of the box. Clownface blasts the box open, and now all of them are being controlled by 2049. Somehow, Clownface did some magic trick to make it so that 2049 could control everyone in its vicinity. However, Klein has something up his own sleeve, and he escapes the puppetry by reciting the luck enhancement ritual incantation and summoning the gray mist. He tries to get back as soon as possible to save everyone else, so he divines a safe return, goes back to the real world, and is now able to move. But he doesn't. Acting like he's still being controlled, Klein gets an offer from the clown. The clown, as a former seer, will give the sequence 8 of the seer pathway in exchange for the notebook, and nobody will know. Except Leonard, who is somehow also conscious. Thinking he's already won, the clown says, the sequence 8 of the seer pathway is the clown. Very clever, Clownface. Very clever. Now it's time for me to get my notebook. Yeah, not happening. Klein pulls on the rod and runs out of the 5-meter radius while the clown stumbles in, and bam! And Klein misses the head as always. But then he takes another shot and the clown is now dead. Holy shit! For some reason, the clown's now dead body is saying Hornesis, and then collapses again. So it kind of seems like this Hornesis Flagrea stuff has to do with the seer pathway, since Clownface is also on that pathway. Anyways, the Nighthawks get the victory and everyone is back. Leonard reveals that he was also conscious while everyone was being controlled, but I don't think Klein noticed because he's just staring blankly into the distance. Leonard's just being freaky as always. SCP-2049 is sealed again, and we're back at Security Company HQ. Dunn gives his congratulations to Klein for being a key part of the cohort's survival, and Klein sees the clown's dead body, telling Dunn that he knows the Sequence 8 of the Seer pathway. Mr. Hardass here says, "Man, you really exceeded my expectations. You're going places," and Klein continues with his bullshit. "It was the goddess's intervention." Yeah, shut the hell up, bro. Leonard then goes, "You controlled him and killed him with one shot. Sometimes I'm ashamed of my own marksman skills." You should be. Then Klein feels his seer potion digesting further in his body, and is thinking about moving up in sequence level, along with that whole Hornesis Phlegraeus stuff. To find out more about all that, Klein goes to his former university teacher, Isaac Eggers. He talks about the contents of the Antigonus notebook, saying that it talked about the nation of the Evernight, which I'm guessing connects to the Church of the Evernight Goddess that presides over the Nighthawks. Klein also says that the Antigonus notebook mentions the Hornesis Range, which I'm assuming is the name of a mountain range, but it has the same name as the Hornesis Phlegraeus stuff, so I assume it's important. Isaac is like, "Yeah, I don't know, man, but I'll let you know if I find something." As Klein leaves, Isaac tells him to be careful, and that it's easy to discover forbidden areas hidden in the dark. Then, when he's alone, Isaac summons some skeleton, suggesting that as opposed to being a recommendation, his words were more of a warning. Isaac is definitely cooking something malicious up. Anyways, that's the end of episode 3. Thanks for watching, like and subscribe.